So the Hakimi thing to close it off?
Yeah, like that's when you do it. Expensive woman, boy, dog, boy. Hakimi wife, whatever she name. Whatever she name is.
Yeah, I think it's Hiba.
Yeah, some
Abouk.
Yeah, some
I know
like that.
Abouk is her surname.
Yeah, something like that. So now, as listen to everybody touching on the topic, men say he's a mama's boy, men say he's a worthless man, because the other day, she had two children with him. He said that guy on TikTok that I kind of engaged, he didn't get disrespectful. I want to big him up for that, I just gave my, a couple other perspectives. We go, oh, what kind of man that will be, what kind of man he is.
Hiba Abouk.
Right? And one thing I told him, I said, let me not act like if women haven't been with men and take them for the money now. And knew this man have potential, and because like Brittany Renner, she admitted that. She admitted that, hey, listen, my goal is a basketballer. Because the money, sure. You understand what I'm saying? And not because I love you. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not saying what he's doing is right or wrong. As you would say, when it comes to married people, like kind of them business, right?
Yeah.
However, as I listened to a guy today talking who seems to be well involved in I think more or less Arsenal football team and with Arsenal players, right? But what he has seen on the topic is that okay, in this situation it might have been his mother, right? That he placed the things in. And I think he still said it's not directly his mother, apparently. Apparently, he has a business that the mother, I don't have to say chairs, or the mother in charge of, right? And he's just saying that the tabloids cannot put it out a particular way. What we are saying is that plenty footballers and athletes and things, they just create a business and let the clubs pay them through that business for them to kind of dodge taxes, certain taxes, because they pay less taxes through the business, and so the business now pay them a salary, you know what I'm saying? But most of the money is held in the business, right? And he even went on to say that sometimes they just create a business in different countries and all kind of weirdness, right?
That is not just what players do, that's what people who get lots of money do. But that wouldn't have avoided what the claim is being avoided now. He would have had to transfer assets into a person's name.
Right. So I think what you're saying is that with that, everything was so apparently normally if the person is normally they are the CEO of the business, whatever, we said no, in his situation he spoke like he kinda knew, but I don't know. Right? What you're saying is I think his mother is the person whose name is on this business. And yeah, anyway, yeah, something like that. So,
well, I mean, I don't know about that. I saw an interview with the mother, and the mother said, well, it was translated, of course, but she was claiming that she isn't aware of him transferring any assets into her name. But if she did, even if he did, then she don't see the problem with it, right? And the what I saw as a part of the court filing was that he placed assets in her name, not he placed assets into a trust that was administered by her or anything, right? So we don't know because you're never gonna get the full details, right? A few things though. I think, well, first of all, even if he puts the assets in his mother's name, I don't care, right? From what I understand, her lawyer is even what the lawyer is saying is even if that is the case, then they're going to have grounds for her to sue him for mismanagement of marital funds, right? Because it was just his money, right? While they were married, and if he placed it all in the name of his mother, then that could, what he's saying, in his opinion, it could give rise to a lawsuit for mismanagement of the marital funds, which is reasonable. Sounds like it makes sense as a legal principle, right? So that is that. But even if he did put it in his mother's name, I don't care. I mean, if he's cool with his mother and he doing it for like bankruptcy purposes or whatever, then that's wonderful. Good for him. I hope he could trust his mother, right? I think though that people they seem to not know who this woman is, and like, now listen, could she be a gold digger? maybe, because she's a famous actress.
Yeah, I know she's
right?
a famous actress.
Right. I actually knew her because I used to watch El Principe, which was a show she was on. Well, I don't know if it may be still going on, but I stopped watching it. Right. She's significantly older than him. Right. I think she's like 10 years or some so older than him. She's in her late 30s. She's closer to 40.
Right.
And he's like 24, 23 or something. Right. No. Could she, because, some celebrities do that. Like, the star is fading, so they attach themselves to a famous person so that they could get more mentions in social media. But, I mean, El Principe was a pretty popular show at the time. I think it was running till the point that she met him. So I don't think this was some girl looking for a come up.
Right.
Right? It could be, I don't know. But I'm just saying, I think people think she's like, they think of some Instagram thought, some Brittany Renner kind of individual. They are actually, I think her parents from Tunisia, his parents from Morocco, right?
Yeah.
They both born in Spain, so they're Spanish first generation. Well, would that be first? I was like, I never even understand what they mean when they say first generation immigrants. But let's say they're the offspring of immigrants from Muslim countries. So I could think that they actually formed a bond. This wasn't like, hey, I'm just looking for a famous man, a footballer. I mean, Hakimi is good, but I mean, he's not like, he doesn't have a huge star power. He's not a very famous person. Prior to the World Cup, only a real football fan would even know who Hakimi was, right? So I don't get the impression that she was just somebody who was on for the ride, right? And it is also possible, because they met, they got married, and she had 2 children. She may have given up acting opportunities to stay on with them children. You understand what I'm saying? So she may very well feel stiffed by the fact that, because, well, and the other thing, he have a rape allegation against him.
Right.
Right? From all intents and purposes, but from all indications, he hasn't denied having sexual relations with the girl. What he's denied raping the girl, right? And his lawyer saying it's like extortion attempt and this and that and the other. And that was, but I think they were separated before that allegation came out. But the bird was visiting the house, that how she get whatever evidence she was taken to the police to make her case. That's probably out there again a while, right? And you're a woman, you're an actress who had a flourishing career. You got married to a man, and you may have taken time away from your career to have his children, and then he went just behaving wild out here. Now it have a rape allegation, and the children got well, I mean, they're young still, so I know how much they go hear about it, but that's shame on you. I think your children got to deal with. She might really feel like, hey, pay some money, dog. So that's the only thing I think people will not factoring in. Everybody assumed it was like some kind of Instagram, but some model who trying to get a thing, and so she may very well feel entitled to at least compensation for the fact that she.
No, as much as I understand your point, right, and I'm not disagreeing with your point, but I think what caused the stir on social media that a lot of people don't want to look at, right? Some of the men praising the move, and a lot of the women upset about the move, right? But I think the reason a lot of the men were praising the move is because a lot of men have been stiffed over the years by.
Well, right. But stiffed would imply that the person was a gold.
No, I know, but here what I'm saying. So, what just happened every day now is that a lot of men have been stiffed before by these women who may not have been worthy of getting half, right? So when they see anything that seems like the man is quote unquote winning or dodging that situation, people attach themselves to it and they get happy. But that mightn't be the exact situation in this situation. You understand what I'm saying? But it's just like a lot of men who could probably get a win.
But no, I get, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I feel if people knew more about her, then they might feel a little bit differently about it. That's the point.
But I know, right? But this is where I come to the next point with the woman who vex with the men for that is because you don't want to, they don't want to understand. I mean, they don't want to understand why men behaving like that. You understand what I'm saying? So understanding that their happiness, for lack of a better word, and is not necessarily all predicated on this situation, but situations happen in the past, and they feel like, you understand what I'm saying?
But I think everybody, when these things happen, unfortunately, people aren't able. Nobody is able to understand nobody, but very few people are able to look at it objectively and detach it from their own personal biases and previous emotions. Right? When women see this, especially when they see a celebrity and whatever, they think, well, first of all, they don't even know if she filed for divorce. They just assume she filed for divorce, and they assume it's going to be man horn, right? So they are thinking from the perspective of, this is the mostly women here, they are thinking from the perspective of, well, listen, all your man bad out here, all you're getting into this marriage thing, not understanding what marriage mean, not respecting what it mean, not understanding, number one, that we become one. So describing it as being stiff is kind of indication that we don't even understand that. We don't embrace that. We become one. So when we split half. Period. If you don't like that, don't get married. That's my whole. If you don't want that, don't get married. I just don't understand. If you could not do that. You could not do that.
Well, yes.
And especially when they get married and they have no intention of being serious. Like they have no intention of not horning or being supportive or anything. My question, why do you do that? You could just not do that.
Yeah, but there's in situations where a man going in and doing shit. But what about these situations where men go genuinely thinking that this woman loves them?
Right. No, but the first thing you need to understand is when you get married, the two become one. So that's why when it's split in half. Right? Right. So you have to appreciate that from the beginning. That's the game you're entering. And it is okay. And if you think that the person you're getting married to has no right to half your money, if it's don't get married.
Nah, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. Because I think the thing is one thing for you to think that the person love you and they get into the marriage and you're all willing to go down, but if you realize that the intention was just to get money from you and not they didn't truly love you as they thought, I think that's a different situation.
Right, but now I don't know the divorce law, what you call it, the divorce law principles in all countries, right? But in some places, who is at fault during a divorce plays a part in splitting of assets, right? So, in most instances, if you are if it is that you were played by the woman, then she may not necessarily she may be entitled to some upkeep, but it may not be equivalent to half your assets, right?
Right.
So, the only person who could feel stiffed would be a man who entered into that union, did nothing wrong, was a loving, supportive husband, but still had to pay out of his ass when he got divorced. That rarely happens. So the point I'm making is you cannot feel like a victim if you are entering into a situation where you recognize that the two become one. So that means there's no separation. I don't care if I am the one shooting the basketball.
Well, I mean, I think that's really debatable.
But that's what marriage is. You see, that's the problem.
But that's where marriage is where? Is that where marriage is? Is that where marriage is in terms of religion? And where
if you don't want no part of that, then don't get married. What are you getting married for if that is not the purpose? We were just talking about you were just talking about people don't think about what marriage really is. They're just looking for the wedding. Well, right, that is what if you go before a priest or because these people have wedding ceremonies in front of religious parties, right? So if all of this is a sham to you, then why are you engaging in it? You are a wealthy man who could have any woman you want at the snap of your finger. I could never understand. Why are you getting married if you have no intention of being a good husband? or a good wife, we could ask the same question. But we're talking here about men. What is the point of getting married if you have all intentions of being a playboy? Like, what is the point of that?
Well, obviously, I do support that, right? If you're going to the marriage and not being faithful or not having...
And what I'm saying is, in most instances, now, I don't want to speak out of turn, as I say, because I don't know all the intricacies of divorce law everywhere or anywhere, right? To be fair. But, again, if you are a faithful, loving, supportive husband, and you are essentially played by a woman, then it is, at least from my understanding, I could be wrong, it's highly unlikely you'll end up in a situation where, you have to pay half, right? No, or split with half of your assets. Now, again, if I am a wealthy person, and I am in love with a woman, and I am considering marriage, forget prenup, right? Suppose I'm willing to go into it without a prenuptial agreement, right? Which sometimes could be voided depending on what takes place in the marriage, right? And it's worse when they have a prenup and the prenup has to be voided because the man's behavior is so awful, which is most of the times what happens, right? Where they have a prenup that has to be set aside, it's because the man's behavior is so awful, right? So my thing is, if I am I'm considering getting married to a woman, I have to think of, is this person worthy of half my assets? Should we split? Right?
I don't understand why you're saying, I know about that. Go ahead.
Because when we get married, it's no longer my money. It's no longer your money. It's we money. Now, in most instances, it's man and woman making money together. So this is irrelevant, right? It's not a man who's a gazillionaire and he get divorced and he has to split it half like Tiger Woods. But in the very, very minuscule amount of instances, it's a very wealthy man who's getting married to a woman who's either not employed or not really doing much to earn money, right? So you have to understand, when we come together, it's not my salary anymore. And and you're saying, but that's the problem. We don't really think of marriage like that. But that is a problem. So I don't feel sorry for someone who does not think about marriage like that.
I think then that mindset could change, or that whole ideology could change.
No.
It don't have to stay the same.
But listen, that is what marriage is. If you don't want that, don't get married.
No, don't get married. Hold on. So what you're saying is, every other thing in life that you don't agree with how it is could change, but this one thing that you find it shouldn't change.
I'm saying to you that is what marriage is.
No.
But that's what you say before the priest. You don't want to do. So what are you lying for?
No, it's not a matter.
What are you? That is so. That's what the legal contract of marriage means.
Hold on. So
that's what the vows you make mean.
Hold on.
So you have no intention of keeping or seeing things like that. What you get involved in people's business for?
What has to do with me? What has to do with me if I happen to become a millionaire or a billionaire, having to give you half of my millions or billions? Listen. I could get half of myself. I could get half of, right? But then, because at the end of the day, if when we separate, right, you tell me, give you something that is reasonable, that's fine.
But
why I must give you half of what I make?
Listen to me. When you get married, there is nothing like you are you, she is she, a one. So if you split, and you did not live up to your part of the bargain, then we should split in half. Period.
Okay, but let us not look at whether you live up to your side of the bargain.
Well,
because people could grow apart. You grow apart and people decide.
And okay, in instances, well, first of all, people growing apart is also an issue.
Right.
Again, I see all of these things. You see, this is the main part of the problem. Marriage is a serious thing. If you don't want no part of what marriage is, stop getting married.
I think some people think in the beginning, when they're getting married, that's what they want to do.
Okay, listen. If you get married and you begin to grow apart, you know what you do? You work on that not happening.
Right.
You work. You dedicate, because this is not. well, you know, I like it today, so let me go. We go see how we go. You could do that without getting married. You could live in the house together. You could share assets. You could draw up a legal agreement about how you're going to govern your relationship. And when it's done, it's done. You can do all of that. You don't have to go in front of a priest and you dress in a white dress and I dress in a fancy suit and we lie to the pastor or to the...
But why are you saying it's lying? I think you could feel a particular way at that point.
Because what do you say? What do you say there? Till death do us part. Right. So when you encounter problems, what are you supposed to do? Work on overcoming those problems.
And some people are unable to...
Listen to me. When you are... What you are saying before that clergyman or clergy woman, right, is that you are dedicating yourself to this other person till death, right? That should mean something. Now, if what you mean is, well, unless I feel different 20 years from now, then do not say that.
But that might not be the way you feel when you stand up in front of the person. You feel, boy, I really love this person, and I think I could stay with this person until I dead, boy. Listen,
big man.
Anything this person do, I could stomach that.
Big man.
And just hold on. The next thing is, when I go and I say what I say, right, and how I feel, I don't know, the person saying, and I hope that they're saying the same thing and mean the same thing when they say it.
And if they, the reason why I said that is you said why I mentioned bring up your hold up your end of the bargain. If they don't hold up their end of the bargain, then that should have a factor in what happens and the splitting of assets.
But sometimes it doesn't.
Well, okay, I don't, because we aren't speaking necessarily from a position where we have facts in terms
of statistics. So that was it. So and everybody, and that's why I will not hold on to this topic in any major way, because most of the time you don't need full facts, right? Then a lot of the time, this one they say this about that one to say about that one.
No. I mean the facts about what happens in the event of one of the partners to the marriage not holding up their end of the bargain, what is deemed not holding up the end of the bargain, what sort of behavior we talking about. We don't know what happens to this in the splitting of assets when that is the case. But let's talk with the assumption that once you have behaved badly, whatever party, let's say it has an effect. Not that it means you don't get nothing, but let's say let's assume that in most jurisdictions that means you don't get, it's not an automatic split. Right? So it factors into, okay, well, you didn't hold up your end of the bargain, so therefore you might be paid a maintenance fee or something like that, but we're not split in half. So let's assume that is the case. So then the point I'm making is that marriage is a sacred institution. If you want to take marriage to be what you want it to be, then just don't get married. What is so hard about that? What is so hard about if you know you can't promise that you will try that? No, you not that you will try, but you could promise that whatever problems you all encounter, you are going to overcome. Then why promise? You could, you especially if you're a wealthy man, you can have women at your beck and call. You can have women. There are several successful men who would just have relationships that are almost like a business because they want to protect their assets, right? So why go through all of the mamagism knowing full well that you do not know that you can do that? And if you're going to say, well, you think so at the time. No. You have to dedicate yourself to that. Right?
But I think you're talking about it from the perspective of the wealthy man in the situation being the bad person in the situation. But I guess in plenty of situations they're talking about whether it be the Kobe, whether it be the Tiger Woods situation.
But as I said, let's assume that that whoever behaves badly, that affects the splitting of the assets. Let's assume. That's what I'm saying. Let's assume that. So if it is that the woman didn't hold up her end of I quite agree. It should not be but
I think I agree with you there. But my thing is, for the situations where people get stiffed, when people
but what is stiffed?
Meaning a woman comes to them, they believe that they love the woman, they believe the woman love them. You come before the priest and you say, yes, I am willing to fight for this and make it work till death do us part. And the woman say the same thing, but when you reach in the situation and a few years down the road, you realize, but wait, like this woman, like she really don't love me. And we go and do marriage counseling and whatever, and she come in marriage counseling, you know, fuck about you and the counselor, I don't care about whatever. And he decide, okay, well, then we had a split. You understand what I'm saying? No, as I say,
you always talking about what is in theory and what is
no. As I just said,
real?
I just said I agree.
You feel that real?
I agree with situations where
you feel that real. You feel that what has happened is we have wealthy men, billionaire men, or hundred of decamillionaires, and what happens is they're desperately trying to keep their marriages together. Why would a woman who is being well maintained by a wealthy man choose to just split and risk access to the assets by not even holding up her end of the
this is what I'm saying. But in that situation, if that is what happens, if she falls on her side, the split isn't even, or the split is significantly less.
Listen, if you are wealthy, I'm sure you could have a lawyer who can make it clear to whatever presiding judge.
All right, so you have prenups in countries that allow prenups.
Not just prenups, but I mean, if listen, I'm doing everything I can to keep this marriage together, and she is not holding up her end of the bargain. She's never committed to the therapy. I have done nothing wrong. We've had this. She's just not. I am trying everything to go. I believe if you're well, I think poor men would get stiffed like that in the.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I think the people who cheer on because the people, some of the situations they hear about, and that's why I also said that plenty of you don't know the full story. You just hold on to a story that you hear about that. Right. One person give their side, and you hold on to that side because you probably have a bias.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's why I say that I wouldn't hold on to this topic too deeply. You understand what I'm saying? Because I understand it have a lot of webs and flows and tie up things in it in terms of you may be hearing a particular story and feel a particular way. So, like, for instance, let me give you an example. The fellow who video I commented on TikTok, he was saying that he had a stepfather, and when his stepfather left the mother got nothing because I guess the stepfather didn't marry the mother, and the next wife or whoever get everything, and the mother, after slaving for this man for so long, they had to suffer, right?
So he brought that to bear on his whole thing.
Right, when he was Hakimi thing, how it could be shitty, whatever the case may be. So he would feel the situation differently from somebody who holding on to a different story. Somebody who holding on to a story with somebody who might have guessed it. Somebody who might have watched a Rondell Fields video with a man who pick up this woman and he built this house, and he had children, he had 2 children, this woman ended up coming and he married the woman, and the man put out, the man then tell the police whatever, and the police can't put out the man and the 2 daughters, and the woman living in the house, even though she never lay a brick, she can't meet the house there.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So everybody holding this story from real different perspectives.
Right.
And
but the reason why I understand what you're saying, but the reason why I was kept going is because I was trying to tell you, well, okay, in this instance, this is understandable. If that instance, that is the point I'm trying to make is that ultimately, if we are speaking here about, because the point I started with was that when you get married, there's no your money and my money, right? And that's easily understood when 2 people working, right? Which is, as I said, which is the case in half the time this don't matter, because in reality, we're not talking about one person being a multi-millionaire and the other person making nothing. So 2 people coming together to form a household with their cash is understandable. When it becomes a problem is when one party is the breadwinner, a big breadwinner, and the other person is not. And that is when all of a sudden, well, I is the one who's shooting the ball. Or I is the one who taking the tackles on the football field. Or I is the one who is slaving in the office as the CEO of wherever. You not making nothing. And my point is, no. I don't agree with that. Because you have chosen. You volunteered. Nobody forced you. You volunteered to say, no, we're not 2 separate people anymore. We are one. You could have not done that.
I still disagree with attaching the bank account to a relationship.
No, not the bank account. What I'm saying, no, it's not just the bank account. The point is that there is when we are married, there is no yours and mine. I mean, it's your shoes and my pants, but there's no your assets, my assets. We could have kept it that way, and we could have remained separate, but we chose to get married. That is what, and that is the point. I keep driving it home because you keep saying, "Here's what I feel," and it's not what I feel. No, that's what marriage is. And my thing is, if you don't want to do that, then that is 100% okay. Don't do it.
Nah,
don't
you could do it with a prenup, but there's nothing true in that.
Okay, whatever. But the point is, your point is, do not enter into a marriage in that form if that's not what you want. You can, and I get particularly pissed especially when it's these wealthy men, because you're not like a normal fellow, like, oh God, but if I don't get this girl a ring, she go disappear on me. I will never find an ex like this. No, you're a man who could have women like that. What if you're risking your assets for going into these things? You could simply, especially when it's it's these men who just have pure gold diggers around them. Like, God, that girl wouldn't come near you if you didn't have money. What are you doing that for? You could simply say, hey, this is how it go. You want to be in my life? You be in my life. These are the rules, the regulations. This is how it works. Ting. You can sleep by me, stay by me. End of story.
No, but
we get married for. But marriage means something.
But I think it still have some more discussion to have in terms of on the smaller scale and the bigger scale. So let me just say somebody who with a high school sweetheart or whatever the case may be, who probably, yes, they have aspirations to become an NBA all-star. We just say, an NBA star. But when they get married or when they get together, you was in school. You all were high school sweethearts or whatever the case may be. You might have never made it to the thing, but you did. You happened to make it there. And probably when they got married, they probably wasn't even drafted to the NBA as yet. They no get drafted to the NBA.
Shouldn't get married if you
right?
drafted flicking NBA.
But yeah,
you don't have the capacity to anyway.
Right. So whoever you end up getting married and you end up started making millions or whatever the case may be, right? I'm not saying that a woman should not get nothing, right? But I think once there's an incentive to leave, I think there is something that they need to pay attention to. Now, if the man, as we say before, in the ideal situation, the person who's wrong loses the opportunity to bargain, if you want to put it like that, in the split, I agree, right? But if in a situation where the person who's leaving and is wrong, if that is not the situation, I think that's unfair. If the woman decides and the man says, "No, I trying to make this marriage." I
agree 100%. If any party to the marriage is trying their best to keep it together, they're being supportive, loving, faithful to the not okay. People can make mistakes, but the point is you're not out here trying to be an awful husband or an awful wife. Then yeah, you should not. That should factor, and it should not be split evenly, because when we agreed to make the two of us one, we also made a vow to try our best to keep this together. I'm trying my best. You are the one who's not. So you should not be entitled to half of whatever.
And that is.
I agree 100%.
That is my point. And it's simply that.
No, but that's not what you were saying, No, you were implying earlier that what I did to make the money have nothing to do with you, so you shouldn't get.
Well, no. And I'm not saying you
shouldn't get half.
No, I shouldn't. We're right. Meaning that you being the other person being the one wanting to come out of the situation.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Unreasonably. Unreasonably wanting to come out of the situation.
Because as I said, I don't support anybody going into a marriage, whether you're a millionaire, you're $2 going in a situation and being a bad husband. Right. Or being a bad person in a marriage. I don't support that at all.
Right, okay.
I don't support that whatsoever. So I don't think because I'm making all the money, I could get married and do what I want, and then, well, if you decide you want to leave, you can't get... Right. I don't support that at all.
Okay.
That shit, you understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
But my thing is, if I'm making more money and you now feel like, hey, when I went into this, he had 100,000, now he worth 2 million, and I'd love him, but I feel I could do better. I feel instead of being with with some lower NBA player, I could shoot up and get a bigger NBA player and cash out while doing it. Then that shit is unfair.
Yeah, I hear that, but I mean, I don't believe that that happens.
No,
Most of them women, they're not gonna risk the check. You know what I mean? They're not gonna risk the. I mean, I think, okay, there are some women who trade up, right? There are some women who probably want to trade up. That's probably true, but I don't think there are very many women who are being well maintained if they're gold diggers, right? And they're being well maintained, and they just decided to.
But see, I also no, but I also
most of them, what actually happens in reality is most of them take all kind of shit because they don't want to leave.
Right, but then I also think what happens as well is that some people might reach in a situation, right, and you decide that things hard in your marriage, right, and you decide, here what's going on. If I leave now, I'll be comfortable. But then some with poor people, right, I just saying. Well, let me say poor people, the average man. Well, I'm sticking it out, and I have very little financial incentive to leave. If you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we gotta fight it. But sometimes some people, instead of fighting to make it work for whatever reason, right? And obviously, we're not talking about infidelity. We're not talking about domestic violence. We're not talking about any of them things, right? We're talking about just normal,
just
normal problems.
Fallout.
Yeah, right. And I think there are times when people can say, I kind of fed up, I ain't want to fight it anymore. But if I could leave with some money, you understand what I'm saying? It could be an incentive to leave, if you understand what I'm saying. And as I say, that is why I keep on making the point, that if you're pushing to leave and the other person is trying to keep this thing working or trying to keep it together, but you want to leave, I don't think you should have any bargaining say on what I make. You understand what I'm saying? If we two of us, like regular people, put in it however the case may be, and it's hard to differentiate, or quantify it, and they say half is half. You understand what I'm saying? But we're talking about, I mean, I don't know Bill Gates' situation. You understand what I'm saying? We don't know what was really going on.
I think some of them men is be glad to do that, especially wealthy men. They glad, some of them, especially when they get fed up with this person, they're paying them to leave, which is what those people are very accustomed to doing, paying people to leave. I don't think Jeff Bezos lost a tear, shed a tear for wherever it is. I pay to leave, and now I could live free. Because some of them, they did what you did. They didn't really sit down and, well, not you did, but what you would, they didn't really think about what marriage was. I get married, and especially in the case of Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos. No, actually that's wrong, because I was going to say they weren't wealthy, but they weren't what they are now. They would have known or had an idea. They believed in themselves that they would be getting somewhere before they got married. So they might have thought they would have been, decabillionaires, but they would have thought they had money. But they got married at a point in time where they were kind of like nerds, and they could only pull a certain type of bird. And look at Jeff Bezos now. Jeff Bezos look like he happier than ever, and he was probably glad to just pay her money so she can just
and make back all the money
and just move on with his life. So yeah, I mean, I agree that if you are trying your best to keep your marriage together, you're not doing anything wrong, then you should not be forced to pay as if you were an awful spouse. I agree. And people should be aware that, especially in the United States now, this is more relevant for women. Women are the ones who are finding it themselves being stiffed by the courts now because they are higher earners, right? So somebody was a kind of recent. I
know Mary J. Blige had to pay her husband.
Yeah.
Thing too. Wendy Williams.
Right. So it's not a man thing. It's that's what the at least, to be fair, at least in the United States, from what we're seeing, the courts aren't really differentiating. You're the higher income earner, you are just minus spouse, right? Spousal maintenance is a thing. So we're gonna do that by splitting assets, maybe 50-50, however it goes. So it's really just a question of higher income earner plus lower income earner. And the only thing I would like to make sure people understand that is the crux of my issue from this is that you should know that is what marriage is. Understand that is what marriage is, the union of two individuals. Well,
Right.
I would have said man and woman, but in Trinidad it's still man and woman, but it's not in other places, right? So two individuals, they are choosing. They could live separately, bro. They could live in a relationship without becoming one. But you are volunteering. You are saying, hey, I want to make it so that it's not your money and my money.
No, listen, as I say, I totally disagree with what you're saying. I agree, but I also think it's important to understand that I could know how I feel and I could know what I want. But I could never surely know what that other person wants. And I don't want to make people who go into them situations and it don't work because the next person decides to be on shit that make them feel bad, like, wait, why,
No, you see, the thing is, what I'm saying is, when the only reason I said that was, at some point in time I made a reference to the fact that, it's no your money, my money. And you look at me like, how come? And that's why I kept saying, that's what marriage is. Because I think that people do not understand that. They do not appreciate that. They don't think about that. Right? They, like we were saying earlier, they think about all kind of other things. They think about the wedding and the thing and the attention they'll get. They want to tell people they're engaged. They think about all of that. But they don't actually think about what a marriage is. And if you sat and you thought about it, and I mean, I'm married to a Catholic, so I had to go through a whole thing before the marriage. And the point and the purpose of that, she probably clout me because I can't remember what it was called. But it was, a series of classes.
Yeah, some kind of counseling thing.
Right. But there's a specific name for it, right? And the purpose is to impress upon you all of those things. This is not a game. This is not just, playing Dolly House. I like, so you come to, no. This is what a marriage means. Now, that is with respect to the Catholic Church, right? So, but I'm not talking about people going to the Red House. Right? And even in the Red House, it's a legal issue now. It's a legal formation of a single unit, right? But especially if you're going in front of a pastor or a priest, it means the same thing in all of them, right? But the point of doing that is to make you aware of the seriousness, the gravity of the situation that you're choosing to enter. At that point, you could say, whoa, nah, boy, I didn't think it was that serious, and I thought, well, we just playing house. I like, we could come and live together, and right? No, it's not that, bro. It's, you had to make a serious, dedicated.
I think, I mean, I want to cut off because we shutting on time,
We got to split this into, right? We got to have a part one, part two.
The thing is, I think, because if you listen to a lot of people talk, Jude, a lot of women talk. I mean, now we're getting some more the women trying to talk this independent thing, kind of. But you still hear them, when they out here to choose a man, plenty times, they talk about how much you man have, right? Now, I understand there's a degree of studying how much you man have for security reasons, for financial security reasons in this situation. But you will hear women say, yeah, because if we had a breakup, I want to make sure I could get something because I don't want to be with no man who, if we had to separate, you understand what I'm saying? I spend all that time with a man come out with nothing. Them things. If you understand what I'm saying?
If you are going into a marriage thinking about separating, then it shouldn't be.
Right. So I just saying, and that's some of the conversations and you see out there.
And you need to know a bird like that. If you know that, then the man who going and put himself with that bird, he ain't gonna know that. You know that about them. You hear them saying thing, right? So the man who going with her, he don't know that. He can't suss that out in the conversations he have with her.
It has some dopey men out there though.
Well then I can't feel sorry for a man who choose not to educate himself or who not to go into a situation with sense.
And there's some men out there who
thirsty
and sometimes they never believe boy.
All right. Well, for them, I am sorry. I don't feel no sympathy for them. Now, if it's somebody real good at cloaking them, the true intentions, and all right, cool, I can't fix that. But I'm just saying, if you tell me you're hearing them having a conversation, well, then that will come out at some point in time in a conversation with a person.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
What? Anyhow, I remember something in somebody's wedding, right? And they say, for better or worse, the person say, the female say for better or worse, they say, for richer or poor, and the person say, I know about that one, huh?
I feel I know who wedding is.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel I know who wedding is.
And I remember hearing that jet.
Yes, I feel
in that wedding, I was like, nah, whoa.
So, if that brother run into problems, how I go feel sorry for that brother?
Because at that point, I say no.
Well, let's be real. Would that be the point that he became aware that was his person's character? No. He would have known from a long time. As a matter of fact, he probably would have ended up with the person trading on the fact that that's how she is. True or false?
Yeah, possibly true.
Right. Not necessarily even in this case. I mean, in general, in instances like that, the men would have found themselves with the women because...
That the things they have or the things they show.
And they know that. And the man knows that. What I'm saying, they came this close because he knew how to catch her.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is, men know, has it beginning, but anyhow, what has happened? What has happened with men is men just use these financial things, right? Men just use money and flam thing and the glam thing to get a woman, but then convince themselves it's not I know. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then they convince themselves
that is special.
Nah, but she loved me for me.
Yeah. Well, again, I hear that, but I can't feel sorry for you. I can't feel sorry for you when that. These are the kinds of people that I just can't have no pity for. Because you're stupid. You're stupid. You pull a bird by behaving a particular way. You know damn well when all you couldn't go to them and say it's broken. You would hide it, duck, you'd bob, you'd weave. If ever you was broken, you said, you wasn't going here. He was always trying to look like the man who having. And then they go tell me, you feel that have nothing to do with the two all your relationship. And if you're not having anymore, she shouldn't go looking elsewhere. Come now, bro. Come now, man.
I telling you when I met my wife, right? The first time I was going to meet her in person. Now back then I was driving the Cube and the Benz, right? So it's my choice which car to drive, right? I went to the Cube.
Right.
I went to the Cube. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's because no, I know getting to know, as I said, I'm meeting her for the first time in person. So, and I know certain brothers with a you're not very. A matter of fact, I went to meet her a day when I left work. So I went in a Sweet 100 jersey. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I work pants, I work jeans.
Yeah.
Because we Caribbean people, we say going out clothes, work clothes, and home clothes.
Yeah.
You understand? So I went to work clothes.
Yeah.
Right? But I know it's our brothers who, nah, boy, dog, boy, if I go meet this person, it's everything.
I don't look my best.
Mm.
And this is the best I could look.
Yeah.
I can't say that ever, but I mean, I stopped dating a long time ago.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong, I would have done them thing in my earlier stages. Paul out, I've been, because, but then when I realized I kept pulling a particular type of girl, a particular type of female, I realized, damn boy, dog, I had to stop that shit.
Well, I think it's a natural inclination, everybody's inclination to put the best foot forward. It's not like you're trying to pull a gold digger, and you're not driving, if you're going with a Benz, you're not going because, hey, well, I hope you like my Benz. It's more like, well, this is the nice car I have. Just like you'll put on the nice clothes that you have if you're going on a first date, right? I mean, I never had a Benz to drive, so I would have had the option. But I mean, would I have done that? Well, first of all, if I had the choice to drive a Benz or a Cube, I'd never drive a Cube. So I would never drive a Cube, period. So that would have been anyway, because I wouldn't want to drive a Cube. Well, no disrespect to your Cube.
But I'd really love my Cube, dog. I didn't want to buy a Cube.
I know you did. I would drive a Cube out of necessity, but I would never ever have a choice. You give me a choice between a Cube and a T, then I will never drive a Cube. I will never drive the Cube. So I can't imagine. I would never have the choice to drive the two and drive the Benz and drive the Cube anyhow. I would have the two and I sell the Cube.
Yeah.
So I would have no choice. I'd rather go in the Benz anyway. But would I have made a conscious, like if I had a Elantra and a Benz, we would have made the choice. I would have driven the Benz still, because to my mind, I would not. I just do. I don't feel like I would attract somebody who. I don't give off that energy, so I don't think I would attract a gold digger. Right? Even if I have a Benz and drive a Benz, I don't think I would. I don't think I give off I just mind woman energy. So I would pull gold diggers. I wouldn't.
Well, but I probably used to give off that energy.
Well,
I know I tell you that, and some of the women I was with, I realized, well, who is now? after a while, but you was just here for things. You was just here. You understand?
Yeah.
You didn't want to pay a rent. You just wanted to live for free. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know about that, but like I say, I come out of the dating game early, so maybe if I'd gone on into mid-late 20s, I might have encountered that, but I never did in the early stages. And as I say, I don't feel like I would have given off the energy, so I would have been comfortable dressing my best to meet somebody for the first time, and if I have a nice car, I wouldn't have feel no way driving the nice car. But I could suss out people who want things easy. So, and once I did, I was like, nah. Once I do, if I'm talking to you and you are very, very concerned with what I have, like in the first conversation, second, you could tell if you are
Nah, that's some girls very smart with the dog. And I learned that, and I learned that, you know, pointing it out to certain partners. That's some girls that even make small investments. Once they think they feeling out real, like you have things, and they go spend small money, and when you release on you.
No, not just whether they spend or not. People who are interested in things like to ask questions about your things. So, okay, let me say I meet, let's say I'm a successful lawyer, right? And I have it, right? And singles are going out looking on the dating market. So, I don't know, I meet a bird somewhere, exchange numbers, really say I message her, we going on a date, all right, cool. If we have a sit and have a call, and in the first conversation, you ask a lot about my career, what I do, how my job is, what kind of things I do, then I would think, all right, you're just a person interested in me. But if you ask questions that are kind of pointed towards my assets,
Nah, I think
how much I make,
they're brighter than us.
No.
Because
they would trust me. And even if it's not the first time, by the third time you talk to them, you would see them trying to count your pockets, bro. Men just do that. Men who trying to count your pockets just do that.
But I understand how it meant, but I've never really had that experience outright with girls I get that close to. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I realize how it gives, but I never get that close to them. But there's some exes I'm talking about who, and I think because I was a bit of a public figure, I think they were able to kind of count it. If you understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
So you watch how much parties are playing and you watch how much parties are throwing. So you don't really have to ask.
Right. Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? You could kind of, okay, wait, boy, them fellas shoot some big parties. 1,000 people in this party. And they could count out without talking to me.
And well, first of all, they might even really be counting your dollars. They just assume everybody who in this industry, in this thing, have money.
Yeah.
Right? So then, you doing all the maths about your own house or your own thing, you're a millionaire. Hey, all here in high life, you must have money, and I like high life. And even if all again out of this is parties, free parties, and bring a friend, that alone is profit, right? So yeah, if it's that kind of well, yeah. So, but I mean, I just thinking of like meeting women or
our age is a different.
They will start to ask you will be able to realize you trying to count my pockets. You trying to, do you own this? Do you own that? I want to warn you who like you, to take your invitation for your date because she like you. She like you look and she find you cute or whatever. She don't tell me ask you, well, so you own that girl? Or, she's not asking that.
Yeah.
So when they start doing that, then you don't know, oh, you're trying to count my pockets. Right out.
Hey, did we wrap it up for tonight? Yeah, for tonight. Yeah, so more likely, this is the second part you have been hearing. Instead of the first part, if you didn't hear the first part, going to put the first part, but this is the second part.
Yeah.
Right?
So we out on
next
week.
Yeah, man, easy.